Today I'm talking with Gerard Whateley, who is the author of Black Caviar. First of all, congratulations on being the ABC Sports Broadcaster of the Year that was announced last week. Well done.
Thanks, Barbara.
Now tell us about Black Caviar's beginnings in the outback.
Well, the story really begins with Peter Moody, who was an outback Queensland lad out on the stations, the cattle stations there, and he decided that he had this deep passion for horses that he would pursue. So he went to Charleville, which was close by and was a bit of a centre for bush horse racing. Put himself close with an old trainer who taught him everything that he knew about horses. And Peter was quite canny, as he knew his own mind from when he was a young man. And he went and worked for the three greatest trainers Australia's had: Tommy Smith, Colin Hayes and Bart Cummings. And he learned all that he could, and then in an industry that is usually about inheriting dynasties and empires, he is a self-made man, and he's gone on to conquer first Queensland and then Victoria. And at probably the precise moment in time when he was ready, when he'd had one champion horse, his champion Typhoon Tracy, he came across Black Caviar, who he chose himself at the sales, he bought, and he moulded to be the horse of a lifetime.
Now, who chose Black Caviar's colours? The beautifully distinctive colours.
The daughter of one of the owners decided that with a name like Black Caviar, they should have distinctive colours as well. So salmon with the black dots, which is quite self-fulfilling. And had the horse not been very good, these would have been sort of derided as reasonably gaudy silks. And instead they now form such an important part of the heritage of Australian horse racing, and they are much loved, even though I'm not sure that they make that great ties or dresses. It's an odd combination that has been so taken to heart.
Now, Australia will never forget June 23rd, the Royal Ascot. What was it like to be there and to actually commentate? Because I was in Perth and I listened to your broadcast. It was, I think, midnight in Perth. It must have been amazing. The
day was even more than I think had been anticipated, and it began at Waterloo Station, where you arrive in your top hat and tails and catch the train out to Royal Ascot. And wherever you looked, there were people with their salmon and black ties, and it was as if the dress code for the day for Australians was to sport the Black Caviar colours. I must have missed the memo about that. It was such a reaffirming day of national spirit. When we got out there, the Australians certainly overwhelmed the locals in numbers, and there was this real sense of camaraderie. I think one of the most interesting aspects was where there's usually such antagonism between Australia and England when it comes to sport, there was nothing but a local desire to see this great horse at her absolute best. So it was a tremendously unifying build-up. And then the race itself, which didn't go to plan for all sorts of reasons, which Peter Moody and Luke Nolan have been prepared to share in the book. It was shell shock in the aftermath, as she came so close to getting beaten, closer than she'd ever been. And even on the train on the way home, Australians were seeking out Australians almost in support groups to talk about what had happened. And then I guess as time has passed, this has come to be regarded more fondly than it was right in the moment where it happened. And I think Black Caviar's legacy lives in that days when it all went wrong, when it all got really hard, and when mistakes were made by the jockey, and when the trainer had taken this huge gamble, not on ability but on heart and courage, she was able to win. And that does go right to the heart of what we treasure in Australian sport.
Now, will we see a race again?
We might. I sort of hope that we do. I know there's this record to protect, this perfection of 22 out of 22, but the idea of a farewell tour through Melbourne and Sydney and Brisbane, 3 runs in 2013, racing's never been better than when she has been there, and I think it would gather together people to such an extent to see her off, that if she is fit and healthy and able to produce something like she has in the past, I think these would be such rare days. We've already been so spoilt with what she's done. So it's all in the hands of Peter Moody, who will always put the horse first, and I feel very reassured about that. There'll be no chase for the dregs or just to get more out of it. It won't be a mercenary thing. It'll be something for the community if he can make it happen. So at the moment, it strikes me as being better than 50-50, and I guess we'll probably know in January.
Gerard, thank you so much. I know that Black Caviar will be a bestseller at Christmas.
I don't want to be the first one to get her beaten, so it has to finish at #1, Barbara.
Absolutely.